So lots to unpack. Let's begin with Republican strategist Ryan Williams, who is standing by in Washington. He was following the joint press conference today. Ryan, good to have you with us on CTV, and thanks for your time and your patience today in doing this.
No problem. Good to be here.
So first off, this difference of opinion when it comes to the tariffs for Donald Trump and the Swedish Prime Minister. What did you make of what you heard there, the back and forth?
Look, I think that the tariff issue is still very much up in the air, despite the fact that the president has said he's going to do this. The president seems to go back and forth. His own party is divided on this. His advisors are divided on this. I'm sure he heard a perspective from the Swedish Prime Minister in private about this. He has his opinion, but as we've seen on other issues, he's willing to back off, things that he says and changes ideas. We're already hearing a softening today as to what the tariffs could mean, whether Canada's exempted, if NAFTA is renegotiated, whether Mexico's exempted. None of it really matters at this point because there really isn't a policy in place. And what we're seeing, I think, right now is this policy being hashed out publicly when usually this is done in private, and a plan is put forward after that.
You raise a great point because we don't know what was discussed, of course, in private between the Swedish Prime Minister and Donald Trump. And sometimes the messages that he gives when he's at the lectern is different than what is said privately to a fellow world leader.
Yes. Consistency is not this president's strong suit, whether it's in public or in private. He seems to tell people what they want to hear, even if people have different conflicting perspectives. He does that sometimes in meetings that we see on major issues here in this country, on gun control and other things. He'll agree with people in the same room at the same time that have totally different opinions. So I don't think we know where this is going. He certainly wants to impose tariffs. He thinks it's a good idea. Many people don't think it's a good idea. Our allies don't think it's a good idea. The Republican Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, doesn't. Members of his own administration, like economic advisor Gary Cohn, don't. There's really an effort right now to reel the president back in and to make sure he does not make a catastrophic mistake by imposing these tariffs. Where it'll end up, I don't think we know at this point. We'll just have to wait and see.
All right, so that's trade. Let me ask you about North Korea as well, because we are hearing some messages coming out of the Korean Peninsula. The North claiming that it is willing to possibly disarm its nuclear arsenal, and we're not sure whether that is simply a tactic and a bit of a ploy by the North or whether that is legitimate. The president was asked, whether we should believe the North. Are they acting in good faith? And what did you make of what Donald Trump had to say? He seems to be cautiously optimistic on this.
Yeah, look, I think the North Koreans are I think they said that they would consider denuking if we pulled out of the Korean Peninsula of the United States. That's not going to happen. So I think they're trying to appear as though they are open to negotiations when maybe they're not. But in any event, the rhetoric has certainly been dialed down. The president today said that he was encouraged by that. Very different tone you're hearing from him today that we've heard in the past when he threatened fire and fury against the North Korean regime. So I think that's a positive sign that at least the rhetoric is dialed back at this point between the president and between Kim Jong-un. Whether or not we see actual results, I don't think we know at this point. But the fact that we're not engaging in a war of words every day that include threats of nuclear war is a good sign.
Absolutely, it's a good sign. As always with a Trump press conference, Ryan, as you know, there are many different headlines. There's one final one while we have you here, and it has to do with this high rate of staff turnover we've seen at the White House. And there was this pretty interesting moment, some would call it extraordinary, where Donald Trump said that he can have anyone he wants working for him at the White House. It's a great place to work, and people are lined up. He said, any job that opens up, I've got 10 of the best people waiting to take over that job. Does Trump actually believe that to be the case?
I don't know if he believes it, but it's not true. Jobs in the White House are usually some of the most prestigious jobs in all of Washington. And this administration, that's just not the case. It's because the staff turnover is so high because it's a hard place to work, and the president routinely embarrasses his staff publicly. He likes to tweet at them. Look at Attorney General Sessions. He disparages them. It's not a good place to work, and as a result, he's not attracting top talent to replace the staff that are really burning out at a record rate in this administration.
Ryan, wonderful to have you with us, and thank you for quarterbacking this coverage today with us.
Thank you.